My voice is gone, but this is going to be the most important day of drafting of my entire life. We have the Flock League draft in about 8 hours, maybe even a little bit less than that, to be honest. I know my draft slot. I'm sure that you already saw. I mean, that video got like 50,000 views. I'll go ahead and show you it now. But yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever the hell it was, we determined our draft order. We went through, did a big competition. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen the video, I would go ahead and encourage you to watch it. But long story short, I'm going to be picking at the 106. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make sure that I am comfortable picking at this draft slot. First, I want to get in an underdog draft. I haven't been able to draft in a flock tournament yet, at least not the flock tournament 7, which is currently live on Underdog right now. But I want to get in one underdog draft, and then I'm going to be spamming drafts with y'all on flockfantasy.com from pick 6. Now, just in case you haven't had a chance to see the video, you can just search the Flock League on YouTube. It's this one where we battled for our fantasy football draft order. As you can tell, rocking the Team of Destiny jersey. A lot of fun. And yeah, the draft's tonight. That video is not going to drop until Tuesday, but I need to make sure that I am ready. I'll tell you one thing. At 6, I know I'm not going to get CeeDee Lamb. In the Flock League draft, Danny has the 102. Danny is most likely going to be taking CeeDee Lamb unless Lamb goes at 1 if Avery decides to snipe him for whatever reason. But regardless, CeeDee Lamb's going to be going inside the top 2 picks in the Flock League draft. So I would expect that I'm going to be walking away with one of Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, or Justin Jefferson at pick 6. Sal Vetri is going to be at 5. We have the developers of flockfantasy.com in at 4. And then we have the 2 FSE guys at 2 and 3. And then we have Avery from Domain in at 1. So we can pretty much pencil out the draft, the first 3 picks of the Flock League particular. That's not how this goes. Of Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and then Bijan Robinson. And then picks 4 and 5, those are the wild cards. We have the dev team. We have Sal. I have no idea what the hell they're going to do. And then at pick 6, we are going to get whoever's left over, which may be Jefferson, maybe Barkley, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to be fine with any of them. And we have Hobbs for Life already coming out here saying the fan is going to win. And yes, the Sammy, I don't remember where Sammy is picking, but again, y'all can see the fan in the contest over here. Where's Sammy in this picture? Here's Badaki, Sal. The fan's way in the very, very, very back. So maybe we'll take CMC. We'll see. But we'll get into some mock drafts on flockfantasy.com after this. Again, I'm going to be just selecting from pick 6 over and over and over again. I've already been doing a ton of drafts in the simulation against the bots. I'm getting a lot of Justin Jefferson, Brock Bowers starts. But I wanted to get in the Flock Community 7 tournament on Underdog first. This tournament dropped last night, but we all went out. As you can tell, my voice is shot. I can actually show you all a picture from us going out. But Ladd McConkey goes off the board at 20. I'm between Taylor, Bucky, Josh Jacobs. I would expect Bucky is actually probably the guy that's going to be going early in round 2 in the Flock League draft, just given the recent developments that we have with the Rachaad White injury and the whole 9 yards. But let me swing this over, and I'll pull up some of the photos for y'all last night. We all went to see some comedy at the Mothership, and then we went out in East Austin after. So a lot of fun. Definitely, you can tell maybe I had a little bit too much fun based off the voice. And let's pray to God that this voice lasts until the draft later tonight. But KO says, is this best ball? Yes, this is best ball. Again, just in case y'all aren't familiar, these are underdog tournaments. So obviously I can't join 500 regular fantasy football leagues. My starts at decisions, my trades during the season would be wild. That's why I'm in one league. I'm in the Flock League. And that way I can just dedicate my entire season to that during the year. But I like fantasy football a little bit more than just wanting to be in one league. So I do a bunch of best ball drafts as well. It's like the best way that you can get in some extra money on fantasy football drafts. Your best starting lineup's going to get submitted for you automatically at the end of every single week. So you don't actually submit your starting lineup. It's done for you. And then also your roster's locked. There are no waiver wires. There are no trades. It's just total scoring. So like the Flock Community Tournament number 7, we actually have tournaments posted on Underdog Fantasy for the Flock community every Friday night, Sunday night, and Tuesday night. So the Flock Community Contest 7's out now. The advancement structure of this is it's a $10 buy-in, $10,000 for first, $5,000 for second, all the way down the line. You can see the prizes there. But one team out of your 12-team draft is going to advance to the Fantasy Football Playoff Tournament. It's going to be the highest scoring team in weeks 1 through 14. Where in week 15, you'll go up against one other person. If you beat them, you'll go to week 16, go up against one other person. If you beat them, you'll go up against 99 people in week 17. And if you beat them, you'll turn $10 into $10,000. I got crushed in these drafts last year, sadly. But of course, if you wanted to get into some extra drafts, I would highly recommend Underdog being the place to do it. We live stream drafts here literally every single night. And if y'all wanted to get into a draft with us, I always post a link that says draft with us here in the live chat description and comment section of all these live streams. And if you use promo code FLOCK, you will get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you'll get all my 2025 fantasy football rankings and draft guide cheat sheets that will get emailed to the email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. And heads up for that, make sure you check your email. I sent out all those updated sheets on Friday. Took me a ridiculous amount of work. Look in the spam if you don't have them already, but please don't be using the old sheets. Make sure you are using the new sheets because that was a massive, massive update that we pushed out yesterday. And if you wanted to take advantage of one of those offers, you do have to be in one of these states. You can see the map here. Good news for you. Underdog's in pretty much every single state, and it's all in all the big ones, like 45. But we got Antler Ice coming out. Let me know if you have any questions, my guy. Antler Ice is going to be at the draft. Pull up around 5:30. I think I sent you the address. If not, shoot me another email. Mel Bailey says, what is your drink of choice? I am sober. I don't drink. So my drink of choice is go up to the bartender and go, hey, can I get a soda water? Back in the day, my drink of choice depends. If it's going to be a long night, we partying, we going hard, tequila soda, hard to beat it. And I don't even know beyond that, to be honest. Okay, but let's see. Brees Hall off the board at 42. And FSE says, I wonder if the guy who recognized domain is here. 0% chance. I blocked him on everything. Yeah. So we're going to take Terry McLaurin. We actually have rumors saying that Terry actually has agreed to a contract with Washington, and they're just ironing out the details at this point. And we should hear the Terry McLaurin extension relatively soon. So I think we can go ahead and we can buy the dip at pick 45. Okay. But Mel Beller says your voice sounds like you had whiskey. Here's the thing with the voice. We had the outdoor video where I'm just screaming nonstop. 2 days ago, we recorded that. And then last night, we're at a place blasting music for quite a while where I'm having to scream over the music. Okay. Oh, shoot. Thoughts Have Gravity says, remind us about the meetup. Okay, real quick. Also, if y'all wanted to hang out with all of us, we are doing a Flock League meetup on Sunday, August 17th. If you're in Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, obviously Austin, expect to see you there. Everybody from the Flock League is going to be there. You can see all the details on the screen now. I'm completely free to show up. I'll be giving out free hats and everything. So really hope we can hang out with y'all. But let's see. We have Ridley off. We're going to take the dip on Kenneth Walker. We actually had reports regarding Rashee Rice saying that they're going to push to try to get that suspension to be 10 plus games, which in reality, I'm sure there's going to be some back and forth where that suspension maybe ends up closer to 6 to 8. But regardless, if you were hoping that that suspension was only going to be 4 weeks or less, it's looking a little less likely at this point. Okay. Vinny says, Mason was Sydney wearing a wig when she brought out the 10,000. Yes. If y'all didn't see, Sydney Sweeney actually did bring out the some 10,000. If you want to see $10,000 in cash, go watch that video. But the 44 MSU says, where did I get the updated draft sheet? Didn't get an email. Probably check your spam. As long as you made an Underdog Fantasy account and use promo code FLOCK and made a $10 deposit in 2025, you should have received an email from Mason Dodd at flockfantasy.com with all the updated draft sheets for you. And then also, if you remember the site, like if you got the season pass, all you got to do is just go right back to how you got the draft sheets initially. Just go to the draft guide section on the site and then go to 2025 flock draft sheets. Click that. And then obviously, again, I know I've said this 1,000 times, but you don't want to bring all these sheets to your draft. You just want to look at the one that applies for your platform, your league settings, your scoring, the amount of teams in your league, starting lineup requirements. So like for me, I'm going to have an in-person draft. And for that reason, the draft sheet that I'm going to be taking is going to be page 44. I'm in a 12-team PPR double flex format, and it's an in-person draft. So I'm going to be looking at the other sheets. Okay, so Egbuka off the board at pick 62. Ricky Pearsall goes 61. Interesting. We have both of them going ahead of Rome Odunze. Okay. Chris Olave off at 65. Let's move this over. Matthew Golden goes a 66. So really the wide receivers are all over the place in this draft here. Pacheco goes 67. I have a plan A and a plan B. I think y'all probably know who our plan A is. Let's see. Yeah, plan A was going to be Joe Burrow because we have T. Higgins. So we'll take Joe Burrow here. No reason to overly complicate it. We know if we don't take Burrow, we're most likely not going to get him on the way back at 76. Christian says, is the free trial cancelable? Yeah, if you get a free trial on flockfantasy.com, it's like for a week and you can go to cancel it. Just go to your account page and then hit on the payments. Just hit edit plan and you should be able to cancel everything there from your account page. I will say with the free trial though, you aren't going to get access to those draft sheets. And the reason is we didn't want people signing up for a free trial, canceling immediately, just downloading all the draft sheets. But you should be able to use all the tools on the site and everything like that with the free trial. Okay. Jawan Jennings off the board at pick 73. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, Montgomery goes 74. No, the flock draft tonight is not going to be live streamed. It will be a video. Okay, so at this point, I think we actually go with Tony Pollard ahead of Caleb Johnson. With the flock tournament on the Underdog Fantasy, here, since only one team out of the 12 teams that we draft are going to advance to the fantasy playoff tournament, I personally prefer trying to get these guys that are going to score points as early as week 1. Rather than going for somebody like Caleb Johnson that could be a crusher in the actual fantasy playoffs for you. Acclimid says, when will the video be out? The video should be out on Tuesday or Wednesday. But there's going to be so much stuff in the video that, like, it is. To be completely honest with you, what I'm hoping, and who knows if this happens or not, I'm hoping that the Flock League draft video this year is the first fantasy football video to ever get 1 million views. I think there's a shot. We'll see. But I'm honestly just kind of antsy to get into the mock drafts and start picking at 6 here. We're not going to take kickers and defenses out of the league. One thing that I don't want to give y'all too many things. We have a couple changes. I don't want to reveal too much though. Spazzy says, Mason, is there a guy you really want at 6 in the Flock League? I would love to get Chase, Bijan, or Lamb, given our format. But the reality of it is, I know there's a 0% chance any of those guys make it to us at 6. And for our format in particular, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, they're all about the same for me. So if y'all remember, we actually put out a video a couple weeks ago talking about the best picks to have in your fantasy football draft. Let me see if I can find that real quick. And we actually made it a tier list. And I personally said the best pick to have in your draft was the 106. And the reason I said it was the one, you can obviously go ahead and go search his video. It's the best draft pick to have in 2025 tier list. But the reason I said that is because at pick 6, I think you get somebody that's in that top tier, whoever it is, probably going to be Jefferson based off the people I know that I'm drafting with, which I kind of like. That's why I chose the pick. And then you could get a bunch of exciting players making it back to you in the second round. So we have Hawkinson at 90, Andrews at 91. Let's move this down. So I will actually just take B-Rob. Let me just think 1 second. Make sure I'm not missing something here. Yeah. We're going to take Brian Robinson. And then I'm not going to say another word until we're on the clock again. Marker Word says, why did the fan not go 101? That was wild. Okay, so I would question the fan. The fan chose, I don't want to give up too much without everybody watching the video, but the fan chose an absolute garbage pick. Like, I have no idea what the hell he was doing. But with that being said, the fan has won everything that he has ever done so far. So the fan obviously won the competition submitting clips. So automatically he's a winner. And then if you watch that other video, you can see he kind of smacked us around silly in that video. He crushed us. And then even last night when we went out, I'll pull up this little video, but the fan, we did like the little punching thing. I'm sure y'all have seen these at bars. And the dude crushed us at this as well. So the fan so far, literally every single thing that we have done, he has put a beat down on us. He has proven to be the literal best. So I want to sit here and I want to clown on the fan for selecting the pick that he chose. But at the same time, who the hell am I? Because everything he's done, he's proven to be a winner so far. Okay. Shahid off the board at 101. Okay. Sammy Stack says Flock League will be no different. That's what the expectations are, my friend. But let's move this down. We have Travis Etienne off at 104. Spicy Hot says, dude, Sammy pulled up to the Airbnb with Sydney Sweeney last night. I swear to God. I mean, yeah, well, technically it was just my girlfriend dropping him off at the Airbnb. Like, she's been helping us out a lot. Lately, which obviously is like she owes me. She gets to date me. So technically he did pull up to the Airbnb with Sydney Sweeney. Technically. Okay. William says, hey Flock, just subscribe to the League Pass. When and how can I get the Excel sheet? So if you just bought the season pass on flockfantasy.com, you can get it immediately. Like, you don't have to wait to your email. The only thing that you have to wait, like, to get it with an email is if you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK and then made that $10 deposit. But if you bought the season pass, you immediately unlock all the draft guides and all the sheets from all the creators. So like if you wanted to go and check like the FSC draft guide out, you can go and immediately pull this up, right? If you wanted to go through and check out the land draft guide, you can immediately go ahead and pull that up. You just hit view here. It opens up a PDF for you and you can check out everything. Then if you wanted to go ahead and pull up my draft sheets, you just go to the 2025 draft sheets. And I would recommend just copying and pasting this and opening it in a new window, not like viewing it through the website itself. But just go to the draft guide section and you should be able to pull up absolutely everything there for you, regardless of what draft guide you want to look at. Thomas says, what number draft sheet should I use for an in-person draft? Never done an in-person draft before, just bought the season pass. So I'm doing an in-person draft tonight, right? So it kind of depends on how your draft is actually going to be. So say like, here, let me make my pick real quick and then I'll explain this because this is going to be relevant for my draft tonight as well. As I need to kind of figure out what sheet I'm going to be using. So we get Ayuk falling, but again, in the flock tournaments on Underdog, I don't know if that's the most exciting thing. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take Tucker Kraft here. So it's going to depend on the setup of your in-person draft. So I've been in like an in-person keeper draft that I used to do on Yahoo back in the day. And there we would be technically in person, but we didn't have like the stickers you were putting on the board. We were just all together and drafting on the computer. And in that case, everybody's still looking at the Yahoo ADP, right? That's what they're basing their like little sheets off of. So I would actually use like a Yahoo sheet for that. I would go ahead and I would say like, oh, it's a 12 team PPR start 7 format. I'm going to use page 31. However, let's see. We get Bateman. We need another wide receiver. So let's take Bateman. I don't like him in regular redraft league, but in best ball, I think he makes sense just because you could get those random spikes. But like, however, if your league mates aren't going to be drafting on the platform at all while y'all are in person, and it's like, hey, we're legit just taking our own rankings and using stickers on the board, which may be how it's going to be at our draft tonight. Which for that purpose, I would be using one of the other sheets, which I'm going to be using sheet number 44 for my league settings in particular. So it depends with your in-person draft of if you're going to be, if like everybody's going to be on their computers, kind of doing it on their computers, or if y'all aren't really using that and y'all aren't going to be live drafting on the actual platform. So if you're putting names on the board, I would probably recommend using the other sheets, which is what I'm going to be doing tonight. And that takes into account the consensus ADP across all platforms, and then my rankings, and then averages out. And then the consensus ADP across all platforms that we're looking at will be Yahoo, ESPN, Sleeper, FFPC, which is a super high stakes fantasy draft platform, and then Underdog Fantasy as well. And obviously, if y'all haven't gotten the season pass yet, it's not too late. It is still live on flockfantasy.com. This is by far and away the cheapest thing that we've ever done. And I know that maybe I'm a little bit biased here or very biased, but I think other people in the chat would probably agree. And y'all have never heard me say this before, but by far and away the best product in fantasy football. This will help you for your main redraft league more than anything else. And at the same time, it's legit the cheapest. $34 one-time payment on flockfantasy.com. You get access to not only all my draft sheets, but all the draft sheets from all the other creators on the site. Plus, you're going to get all of our rankings updated weekly and rest of season. And you're going to get unlimited tool access, including trade calculator, trade finder, let's say player comparison, range of outcomes tool, the whole 9 yards. Just flockfantasy.com. And if you use code FLOCK when you sign up, I'm going to be answering your start set questions and your trade questions for free during the live stream during the season. And I'll be live streaming every single night during the year as well. But I'm not going to send a link out. Just easy. Flockfantasy.com. Okay, so Ferguson goes pick 139. Let's move this around. So we took Tucker Kraft in the last round. So Jordan Love's an auto pick. Jordan Love's falls 15 picks past ADP. We have the stack with Tucker Kraft. There's literally nothing to discuss here. You get that opportunity. You just take him immediately. Roll says, did you mention there was a draft guide video dropping today? So I'm not dropping any more of those like ESPN, Sleeper, Yahoo type draft guide videos. What I will be dropping today is a draft strategy video. I am not going to be doing that, however, until tonight because I don't want anybody in the Flock League to see it. So if you can tell, I haven't uploaded a single draft strategy video this year. And to be honest, I don't want anybody in my league watching it until I've dropped it. So Bryce Young, Michael Penix, both go. So we are on the clock. We have Benson, Hollywood Brown. If we take another running back, this may be our last RB. We could go Romeo. Y'all know I freaking love Trey Benson. Who am I kidding? Let's take Trey Benson at 138. I think Trey Benson at ADP is one of the best picks on the board. The fact that we get him 10 picks after in this case, it's going to be easy. Okay. Yeah, maybe I am shaking in the boots. Maybe. We'll see. But the video should be out. I think we're going to do the draft probably at we may or may not have a limo picking us up at 3:30. So maybe I'll drop the video around then because I think people will be too busy to watch it at that point. Corey, I have a better hook than this. I'm going to be honest with you, my friend. I got a better hook. Okay. Thomas says, Yo Mason, is number 37 good for my in-person draft 10-team single flex on Yahoo? Let me pull this up real quick. So 37 is a 10-team PPR single flex, but that's for the other. So that's not going to take into account Yahoo ADP. So I would actually use page 25 for your draft, which is Yahoo 10-team PPR start 7, which is a single flex format. So use page 25. I'll kind of show you what that looks like, and I'll explain a little bit about the adjustments that we made here with our overall rankings. So looking at this is going to be the big board that we have for these, like a Yahoo 10-team PPR single flex format. You'll notice that the wide receivers are lower, and we're really optimizing for running backs in the early rounds. And the reason for that is wide receiver depth on that platform is going to be super easy to find later. So typically you want to push up the elite quarterback, the elite tight end, the elite running backs in that instance, at least with those league settings. So like I would have Brock Bowers. You can take him as early as the 204 there. Balls Life says, I know you don't drink, but you need a shot or two to loosen up for the drafts, my man. Okay, here's the thing. Realistically, with the amount of work, you can hear it in my voice, with the amount that we've been doing over the past 5 days, how hard it is for me to recover is like the worst thing I could do is have some alcohol and make it even harder for me to get back to work. So I think we're probably done at running back. If we wanted to go running back round 18, we could. So here's something I would never do in Best Ball Mania. However, in a flock league tournament, I think it actually isn't the worst thing in the world. We're going to take a third quarterback just for the advancement, because you do need to have the most points in the regular season. Here, weeks 1 through 14. And in best ball, getting that third quarterback is going to raise your floor. But when you go QB at pick 69 and 141, and a super large field contest like Best Ball Mania, where you really need to be optimizing for the final 3 weeks, I probably wouldn't recommend you going with the third quarterback in this instance. I think you stop at quarterback pick 69 and pick 141. But I think we can throw in another quarterback at 165 given the league settings here. Okay. Spicy Hot says, I won 10,000 with the flock league 1 year ago. Yeah. Say, I kept 10,000 with the flock league 1 year ago. It's funny. Dax, if you're having an issue getting your guides, shoot me an email, mason.at flockfantasy.com. Tori Horton says, Evil Eric says, you said you prefer pick 6 in redraft. Why do you prefer pick 6? I have an entire video that you can watch. Go and watch the best pick to have in 2025 tier list video. And then I explain all the dynamics from all the different picks. Okay, I think we're going to take Wan'Dale Robinson as our 6th wide receiver. Another example of a wide receiver that would never make a difference in your regular redraft league. Like you would always be able to find replacement level wide receiver production on the waiver wire. But here, just getting a wide receiver in here that's going to make sure that we don't have some zeros during the season makes a lot of sense. Okay. The Big Q says Henderson or Connor in a PPR. ESPN ranks them right next to each other. Let me pull up like an ESPN draft sheet and check this out. I have Trevion Henderson ranked at 45. I have Connor at 43. Mason Armboids, welcome to be a mother flocker. Adam Thielen goes 176. Luke says, got to get a jersey of your number 1 pick. So if I would know who's going to be there at pick 6 for me, I think most likely it's Justin Jefferson. I just can't know for sure. I would have gone and bought a jersey before the draft. But because pick 6, you're just kind of left over with whoever the top 6. Like you're just left over with one of those players, right? It could be Barkley, could be Jefferson, could be Gibbs. So I don't want to go and buy a Jefferson jersey and then all of a sudden Jefferson goes at pick 4. Bryce says, are you going to post the board on X tonight, or is everything going to wait until Tuesday? I'll talk with the other guys about that. I know last year we posted the draft board immediately after it was done, but maybe we wait. I'll see what they think the best thing to do is. 9 times out of 10, I just ask them what they want to do. Doesn't make a big difference to me. But yeah, this was the draft board last year. Here's all the nerdy guys, including myself, obviously. And then here was our draft board where I started Chase, Nico Collins, Devonta Smith, Laporta, Amari, Terry McLaurin. I went 0 running backs in the first 6 rounds. And still finished the season 9-5. Even though I traded Nico Collins before the season started. Okay, the video is going to get put out either Tuesday or Wednesday. He then says, does anyone know when the sheets are being updated? The sheets are updated every Friday. So they were updated yesterday. Or, yeah, what's today? Saturday? I started updating them on Thursday, and it took me all the way through yesterday to get them officially done. I'm going to take Mason Taylor over Alec Pierce. It's going to be a draft where we're going to take one more wide receiver and one more tight end. AJK says, Mason, how much of a donation would be required to draft the big Q at the 106 in the Flock League? I would need $1 million. If Quentin Johnson wants to hit my line, pay me $1 million, I'll draft him at the 106 in the Flock League. But I know I've said this before. The only thing I would rather win than the Flock League is Best Ball Mania. Like, if I could win $2 million on Underdog, I'll take that over the Flock League for sure. But the Flock League obviously is a big prize this year. And then just the fact that I could make fun of all the other guys all season makes that so valuable to me. Okay, Rodgers goes 194. Isaac Tesla. We're going to take Alec Pierce. And then we will just queue up some tight ends at the very end of this. Terrence Ferguson's fallen a ways down ADP. Let's queue these guys up. And then we are going to bounce into some mock drafts. Here's where the stream really starts to matter. And this is, again, like the most important mock drafts in my life. So let's get into private draft. Usually we just do the public drafts, but I need to make sure that I am, and I'm going to set this to be a double flex format. Let's do full PPR, 30-second timer, redraft. We're not spectating. So let's get in. I'm going to do these as private drafts because I need to make sure that I can pick from 6 every time. And I'm going to send out the link in the live chat if anybody wants to get in. Okay. So if you want to join our draft, you can see the link there. Apparently, there have already been over 83,000 drafts done on flockfantasy.com. So we are in. Let's start this draft. I'm going to do a couple of these mock drafts because I've done a bunch against the bots on the site, which is very valuable because obviously the people I'm drafting against, half of them have rankings on flockfantasy.com, which those bots are going off of. But it will be interesting to see what y'all do as well because the devs are wild cards. Not only are the devs wild cards, but also so is the fan. So are the editors. I have no idea what the hell they're going to do. So I kind of need these boards to look a little different. Again, the 106, we get the luxury of, I'm just going to take whoever falls between Bijan, Barkley, Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, and Justin Jefferson. And we're going to sort by my rankings on the right-hand side. These are my default rankings that we posted on the site. So these aren't the exact rankings that I'm going to be using in the draft itself. Again, I'm going to be using one of the draft sheets that I have posted for my league settings in particular. I'm going to be printing those out and bringing them to the draft. And we are going to get Justin Jefferson at pick 6, which I would imagine is going to happen in a lot of these drafts at 6. But we'll see because I don't want to mentally guarantee myself I'm going to get Jefferson and then all of a sudden he doesn't fall to me, which I'm not going to sit here and cry if he doesn't fall to me. I'm not saying Justin Jefferson's my favorite pick here at 6. But, I mean, I would prefer Lamb over him, but I know Lamb's not going to make it. I prefer Chase over him. I know Chase isn't going to make it. I'd prefer Bijan over him. I know Bijan's not going to make it. But Barkley, Gibbs, Jefferson, I don't really care. Okay. Brady says, in a pick 3, also is that $10,000 from your pocket? Yeah. So if y'all saw that video where we were like, we had the $10,000 cash, which just a heads up, don't come looking for it. It's going straight back to the bank right when we get done making these videos. Well, I said, oh, you're going to win $10,000 cash. I'm more so mean I'm going to wire it over to your account. But yes, I was meaning to say in the video, like first place is $10,000 brought to you by the Flock Fantasy Season Pass. And that's what whenever I was saying last week, like, hey, we're going to have some pretty big surprises. We're doing some pretty cool things that we wouldn't be able to do without y'all support with how crazy y'all have gone with that season pass. That's one of those main things I was talking about. I was going to say that, but was so much stuff going on that I just completely forgot. So it was supposed to be sponsored by the 2025 season pass. Oh, maybe I'll say in the video tonight. Okay, and yes, maybe I got the ones on my side gig. Okay, so London off the board at the 202. AJ Brown goes 203. Gonna try not to tip my hand too much in this draft here. Ginty goes 204. Henry goes 205. So Bowers is for sure higher in my rankings in a single flex format than he would be in a double flex league. However, based on a lot of these drafts, I am actually going to assume that there's a good shot tonight. I am going to start off with the combination of Justin Jefferson and Brock Bowers. Bowers is the highest ranked player here, according to my rankings. Bucky is the highest ranked player, according to the site expert average. We are going to take Bowers, and we are going to try our best to make this work. If I do a couple mock drafts right now, and I just absolutely hate my teams drafting around Bowers, maybe we pivot over to a running back. Maybe we pivot over to Bucky Irving. But we will see. We will see. Okay. And Trey McBride goes 209. So the thing that I would be terrified with is if I take Bowers at the 207 tonight and Trey McBride falls to me at the 306. Just maybe I'll tip my hand on this, but there's a 0% chance in that instance I would take Trey McBride at 306 if I already had Brock Bowers. Knowing who I'm playing with, there would be no way I could take Trey McBride with Brock Bowers and then try to sell one of the tight ends. The guys just wouldn't do it with me. Even if I offered, I would have to get literally robbed to try to sell one of the tight ends if I were to do that. So it wouldn't be an option for me to take Trey McBride at the 306 if he fell. I just simply wouldn't have the trade leverage over them. And then in the fourth, it wouldn't be an option for me to go with George Kittle. Again, for the same reasons. So if I go with Brock Bowers there in the second, I am no longer allowed to draft a tight end until like round 14 because they're not going to let me trade one. Now, if we go like Bowers at the 207 and then Trey McBride goes to the 209 and then George Kittle goes at like the 305, I would feel very good about a Justin Jefferson, Brock Bowers start. Like in this instance with Vinny going with Trey McBride at the 209, it's like, oh, okay, I don't feel too bad about taking Brock Bowers at the 207 in that instance. Okay. B. Tom says, hey, Mason, are you going to be able to answer questions on the site today? Need some keeper help? Let me know what your name is on the site, and I'll pull that up and try to answer it for you right now. Okay, I'm going to tip my hand too. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not that worried about the other guys in the league knowing what I want to do because when you're in the middle of the draft, you're not dictating the board. You're more so letting values fall to you. You are staying flexible. Where if you're at the 101, if you're at the 112, if you're at the 102, if you're at the 111, I think it is very important that your league mates don't know what you want because since you're boxed in, they could try to snipe you and then get a player that they still want on the way back around. Here, like, it doesn't matter if they know I want Lamar, Tyreek, George Kittle, Jaden. It doesn't matter, right? If this was a single flex format, I would 100% go with Lamar Jackson. But with this being a double flex league, Even though Lamar Jackson is ranked higher than Tyreek Hill in my generic rankings, I don't think I can afford an elite tight end and an elite quarterback. I think you have to pick one or the other. So we will go with Tyreek. And Patrick says, will we be updating the draft sheets even after your draft tonight? My draft is in 2 weeks. Yeah, even though my draft is tonight, I'm going to be updating the draft sheets for y'all every Friday night until the season starts. And so this is another thing that I need to think about. Do I think that Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson would make it to me at the 307? It's like, would I rather have Brock Bowers and Tyreek Hill, or would I rather have Bucky Irving and Lamar Jackson? I may rather have Bucky Irving and Lamar Jackson. So even if I think Brock Bowers is the best player on the board here at the 207, because of what it does from a roster construction standpoint, I don't know if I'll be allowed to take him and then take the elite quarterback there in the third. Now, if you're playing in a single flex format, by all means, just take both the elite tight end and the elite quarterback, because you don't need to build out that much depth at the skill positions. But here, where it's going to be a pretty tough league, and at the same time, you have to play 6 skill position guys a week. I think it's a little bit tougher to do that. Breece Hall goes 405. So we have a bunch of wide receivers available to us that are highest in my rankings, and then we have Jalen Hurts as well. So again, like, this is something that we need to think about, because Jalen Hurts is the highest in the expert average. He's the highest in my rankings as well. But I don't want to take Jalen Hurts if we took Brock Bowers. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take Mike Evans here, and then the next draft that we do, I will probably try to make it one where we don't take Bowers in the second. That way we can give ourselves the flexibility if we want to go with an elite onesie in the third or the fourth. Okay. Large Junk says, on a scale 1 to 10, how hard did he hit the Dougie back in 2010? Real question is, scale 1 to 10, how hard was I hitting the Dougie last night? Which I would say that's a solid 9.5. Okay. Let's see. Jalen Hurts makes it all the way down to the 411. That is incredible value. Incredible. Raphael says, Mason in the Flock League, don't use your rankings, just get your favorite guys. The thing is, my rankings will kind of have my favorite guys higher than where other people probably take them. So if I wanted to get my favorite guys, probably the best thing for me to do is use my rankings, use my cheat sheets. And it means that I'm just not going to be reaching dramatically to get them. Okay, Devonta Smith off the board at the 501. And Glacier says, how much do you believe in the dev team in your draft? So if y'all had a chance to see the us determining the draft order in the video yesterday, y'all been able to scout out the dev team. Now, the dev team advantages, they have 4 people sharing a team. They're the only people sharing a team, and there are 4 of them. I think that can work to their benefit, and I think that can work against them at the same time. So we'll see what happens. Calvin Ridley goes to the 505. I'm going to take DJ Moore. I know people are saying you're allergic to running backs, blah, blah, blah. It's a full PPR double flex format. All of these guys I've taken through the first 5 rounds are in my starting lineup. I finished 9-5 last year and got a bye to the playoffs with my league settings going with no running backs for the first 6 rounds. So if DJ Moore is available to me at the 506, I'm going to be taking DJ Moore. And I'm drafting as if this is my draft tonight. Now, again, I will be the first person to admit the thing that we maybe need to figure out and the thing that we maybe need to change is, do we take Bucky instead of Bowers there in the second? Which honestly, in the Flock League draft, I have some intel that I think Bucky may be going at the beginning of the second round. So I don't even know if Bucky will be an option for us at the 207. And instead, that option may be Chase Brown. So it's like, do we take Chase Brown or Brock Bowers? And that's kind of what we're doing these mock drafts to do. That's why we need to practice. That's why we need to figure it out. But let me pull this up. And just to make sure y'all know, there have been 83,000 drafts done on flockfantasy.com. Y'all can hop into these drafts literally whenever you want. They're completely free mock drafts. To be honest, they're not as much fun as underdog drafts because underdog drafts, you can win real money. These are just practice. But just go to flockfantasy.com, hit the mock drafts tab on the side. And these are public mock draft lobbies that are constantly getting filled. I mean, there have been 83,000 drafts. So just go hop in a PPR, half PPR, non-PPR, or you can use the draft simulation and you can draft against bots if you would rather do that. And those bots are bots of the creators on the site. So you'll go up against a Mason bot that uses my rankings. You'll go up against a Zach bot that uses Zach's rankings, an Avery bot that uses Avery's. You'll go up against a Corey bot that uses Corey's. You'll go up against a Fantasy Stock Exchange bot that uses the average between Corey's and Danny's. And that's how those draft simulations are filled. So to be honest with you, they're going to be a lot tougher than draft simulations that you may have on like your, like if you opt in a public mock draft on ESPN, but they'll also probably help you out more that way. So the highest ranked player in my rankings is going to be Caleb Johnson. The highest ranked player in the average expert rankings is also Caleb Johnson. I've gone 5 rounds without taking our first running back. So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take Caleb Johnson as our first RB here in the middle of the 6th. It's Void says, isn't it risky to do your drafts before the preseason's done? Yeah, I wouldn't fault y'all at all. I think most people are doing their fantasy drafts the last week of August, the first week of September. But since we obviously all make like fantasy football videos, do a lot of content stuff, we have to find a time that works for all of us. And this week was the best week that worked for all of us. Because I mean, it's kind of easy for me. I'm in Austin, Texas, so I'm just hanging out here, but it's a big ask for all the other guys in the league, right? Like the Fantasyland guys had to fly in from Australia. That is like incredible that they'd be willing to do that. And that's extremely tough. The fan had to fly in from Canada. An editor had to fly in from Canada. The Fantasy Stock Exchange guys had to fly in from Canada. Another editor had to fly in from Nevada. A couple devs had to fly in from Massachusetts. Dev had to fly in from Florida. Another dev had to fly in from North Carolina. So it's a lot of coordination. It's a lot of people coming here. And you kind of got to just figure out a time that makes sense for everybody. But if like scheduling and stuff wasn't a big deal for any of y'all, I would say maybe the best time to do it would be just waiting until the week before the season. So let's see, Laporta goes at the 701. Obviously, Laporta's off our board entirely. TJ Hawkinson's going to be off our board entirely as well, right? When we have Bowers, there's no way in hell I can take TJ Hawkinson. Hawkinson would legit have to slide into the double-digit rounds for me to consider him. Okay. So Hawkinson goes 703. That helps us. Pacheco off at the 704. So our 2 highest ranked players are going to be Aaron Jones and Jawan Jennings. Based off our draft so far, I think the adjustment that we need to make in the next one is we need to take the running back instead of Brock Bowers. Kyle, my guy, the worst way you could possibly go about trying to get your question answered is typing in all caps and copying and pasting it over and over. Expert average has Jordan Addison as the best player. I have Jawan Jennings. We will take Jennings here at the 706. Sal's FaceTiming me. Let's see what's up. Oh, hey. I'm live streaming, my guy. What's up?
What time you need me there today?
3 is good. Can you make it a 3?
Yeah, definitely.
Or even 3:30. I'm telling everybody else to pull up at 3, but if you can get there at 3:30, that's good.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll Uber over. Cool.
Okay. Appreciate it. Hey, I can actually have somebody pick you up if you want. We can get Andrew to pick you up.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. I'll get him to pick you up. All right. See ya. Okay. Yeah. Sal the eyebrow demon. I was telling him last night that his hair looks too good. It doesn't look real. Maybe I'm just a little jelly. Maybe I'm very jelly, but let's see. Mahomes goes the 7-10. So the thing that we did in the Flock League draft last year, right, is we filled out our wide receiver spots. We filled out our depth before the teardrop happened. And then we slammed running backs rounds like 7 through 11. We walked away with DeAndre Swift. We walked away with James Conner, a couple other running backs that didn't work out. Let me just go ahead and pull up exactly what we did. Again, in your single flex format, you would never go this heavy on wide receiver. And you can see that in the draft sheets that are posted on the site, right? And you need to be making adjustments to your strategy based off your league settings. But here, our draft last year, we waited until round 7 to get our first running back, which was James Conner. Round 8, we went Swift. Round 9, we went Spears. Round 10, we went Benson. Round 11, we went Eckler. So if you do exactly what we did, I mean, here it looks very similar, this mock draft, to what we did last year. I think we need to be slamming running backs over the next few rounds. We have tight ends off, David Njoku. So we could go Brian Robinson. We could get the quarterback with Kyler Murray. You know what I may do at this point? I may move Tracy ahead of Brian Robinson in my rank, because let me look at the expert average. Brian Robinson's ahead of him in the expert average. I'm ahead of him as well. We're going to take B-Rob here. I have Jacoby Myers and Kyler Murray ranked ahead of him. But we already have our 5th wide receiver, and we don't have our 2nd running back. So let's take him. Okay. Let me move this around real quick. Shakir 809. It was funny. So last night we were out and some guy came and tapped me on the shoulder and was like, hey, don't want to bother y'all, but appreciate everything y'all do, which was awesome. And then also, I'm not going to tell the entire story. Domain's going to say it 1,000 times. People recognize Domain and not me. It was brutal. But it was hilarious. I went, oh, that's awesome. Can you do me a favor? And Corey, who lost the league last year from Fantasy Stock Exchange, was sitting at the table down there. And he always makes jokes that he's irrelevant because he didn't submit clips last year a lot. So I asked the guy who recognized us, I was like, hey, can you go over to that table and go, oh my gosh, are you Corey from the Fantasy Stock Exchange? He's like, yeah. And then I was like, and right at whatever he responds, I was like, immediately after, go, just kidding, you're irrelevant, and walk away. And the guy did it yesterday. It was hilarious. Okay. Fury says, just got me a pass at Flock for the first time ever. Hope you enjoy it, my friend. Had a bunch of positive feedback for it. And again, like y'all supporting us so much, and like especially getting the season pass the way that y'all have. It's what's allowed us to do all this really cool stuff. I'm with the Flock League, and there's only going to be more stuff on the way. Like, I'm freaking pumped. Yeah, Danny may or may not have wiped out trying to punch the bag. Danny may or may not have also gotten a kiss last night from a pretty good-looking lady. I can neither confirm nor deny. But that's what the rumor out on the town is. So I can't take Mark Andrews at this point. We have Bowers. I think Andrews would be a phenomenal value here. So here's an interesting setup. Jalen Warren's the highest ranked player in my rankings at this spot. You look at the expert average. He is way the hell down here. We could go ahead and we could take our first quarterback, Caleb Williams. We are going to do that just with the expectations, looking at the rankings that everybody else has on the site. There would be a good shot that I can get Jalen Warren in the 10th. And honestly, this is a massive mistake. I'm not going to make this mistake tonight. Now that I look at it, there are 7 teams to pick after us, or 6 teams to pick after us, and 5 of them already have quarterbacks. So it is an absolute fumble for us to take Caleb Williams here. This would be something that we would do in an underdog basketball draft, but there's no way in hell that we would do this in the draft tonight. We should not have done that. We should have gone with the running back, and we will adjust that in the next mock draft. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Let's go, Danny. Let's go, Danny. Okay. Raphael says, Danny whispered to her, I'm taking Lamb at the 102 in Austin, Texas. And then something happened, something biological. And yes, I may or may not have been the lady. I can neither confirm nor deny that either. Okay. Eric says, will the Flock League have a kicker in a defense slot? Yes, they will. And maybe I actually do need to do a little research before the draft today on what kicker and defense I need, because I have no freaking idea. Latzer says, another lady walked up and told me that, quote unquote, her and her friends thought I was the best dancer. Ooh. You were getting some moves out there. The moves were impressive. I'll admit that. Let's see. Justin Fields off the board at the 12:05. So obviously we are going to be playing catch up at running back through the rest of this draft. Like, we just need to hit on some running backs that we can start. Tucker Craft goes, so actually, never mind. Maybe we didn't make a massive mistake drafting Caleb Williams. We are going to get Jalen Warren off at the 10:07. I do like having Warren in this instance because Caleb Johnson's probably not startable at the beginning of the season. So if we can roll out a lineup week 1 with wide receiver Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, flex spots Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Brock Bowers at tight ends, running back Brian Robinson, Jalen Warren. I know that's disgusting. Quarterback Caleb Williams. So looking at the tight ends that would have made it to us, like the fact that we could have gone Mark Andrews in the 9th here, I think the next draft that we do, yeah, we have to pass on Bowers in favor of a running back there in the 2nd. Raphael says, Mason, how many slow drafts are you in? Way too many. I'm trying to max out like the marathon, trying to max out the eliminator. I entered into so many slow underdog drafts that, like, we got out of the comedy show last night. I checked my phone. I have 60 notifications from Underdog telling me that I'm about to auto pick. Okay, Shaheed off the board at the 11:01. So we are really only taking running backs for the rest of this draft. Just trying to hit on anybody. No, and maybe I'm throwing some smoke screens here. We'll see. Again, like I said, picking from the middle of the board, it doesn't really matter if the other guys know what I want to do. Because say, like, I really want Justin Jefferson at pick 6, or I really want Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 6. Frankly, it doesn't matter either way. They know they're not going to make it back to them at the 208, at the 209. So they're just going to take who they want regardless of who I want. And kind of the same thing on the flip side of that. Like, if I really want, say, so here we're in an instance where the running backs aren't really viable. So I think we can go Goff, play the matchups between Goff and Caleb, and then hope that one of them emerges. And then there, at that point, we're going to cross off quarterbacks from our board as well. And we are effectively only going to be looking at running backs with our final 3 picks here. And yeah, we definitely need to go ahead and pass on Bowers in favor of a running back there in the middle of the 2nd round in a double flex format. But Greasy says, Jalen Warren so underrated at RB38. Yeah, I think we get a phenomenal value there with Jalen Warren for sure. And I like the idea of us being able to play the waiver wire, hope that we hit on a running back too. But if it doesn't happen, which if this team was able to hit on a late round running back, if we were able to hit on an RB2 here at the very end, whether that's at the end of the draft or whether that's off the waiver wire, Like the team would be absolutely nasty. We're going to have the best tight end room in this draft. We'll have arguably a top 2 wide receiver room, or maybe top 3 wide receiver room. Quarterback's going to be okay with Caleb and Goff. It just would all come down to, can we hit on a running back at the very end? Or can we hit on a running back off waivers? Liam says, is the Flock League a money league or for bragging rights? I highly recommend going and watching the newest video, and you will see very early what it's for. We got Dev Nate out here with the buff Dev profile pic. I was not in the pool with Joe. I missed out for sure. So Dylan Sampson goes, we will just take a running back that potentially could be a starting running back week 1, or potentially could be somebody that we just cut immediately if we get positive word on Joe Mixon. So we'll take Nick Chubb. We're going to take 3 running backs at the very end like this. Okay, so here is the squad. And we're just going to need to take 2 more running backs at the end. And I disagree. I think this is kind of the exact opposite of what you would be wanting to do in a best ball draft. Taking a lot of running backs that could be absolute zeros. It's kind of what you want to do in a redraft league, and the exact opposite of what you would want to do in best ball. Okay. Najee Harris goes to the 12-12. If we weren't so far behind at running back, you could mix in like a last round tight end. You know what I'm actually going to do with my rankings? I'm going to move, with the Miles Sanders injury, I think we need to just move him down. Even if there's so much uncertainty in that Dallas Cowboys backfield. Ray Davis goes, we're going to take Rico Dowdle. Okay. And by the way, there's a new look coming to the rankings page on the site very soon. It's already on our Create Rankings, where you're going to be able to pull up stats and look at them as you're looking at the rankings. So hopefully it will be very useful for y'all. Okay, Adam Thielen goes at the 1309. We're going to take another running back. Question is just, who does that running back end up being? I need to move Will Shipley up our ranks. So worried about A.J. Dillon potentially turning into split backfield if anything were to occur to Barkley. But it looks like Shipley's running away with the job. So let's finish this and let's hop into another draft and let's see what it looks like when instead we decide to pass on the elite tight end in favor of running back there in the second. Okay, Giddens goes 1405. And God, I have so many things planned for tonight for the draft. I'm so excited. Did y'all, hey, please let me know in the chat. We're going to take Miles Sanders. Again, with Sanders, kind of the perfect guy like Nick Chubb. Could be a starting running back week 1, even if it's a low probability. We're going to learn that very early on, and we're going to learn if we should be looking to cut him or not after week 1 for a waiver wire option. So this is the squad, running back room, absolute booty cheeks, just like it was in our draft last year when we finished 9-5 and got a bye for the playoffs. For our format in particular, really like the idea of building around these wide receivers, just like we did last year. and like the idea of waiting on quarterback. But the one thing that we potentially need to revisit and possibly change here is going to be the situation regarding the elite tight ends. The league analyzer is going to say that we have the worst running back room in this league, tells us that we are dead average here at 6. Worst running back room in the league, second best wide receiver room in the league, second best tight end room in the league, 7th best quarterback room. If we look at my rankings instead, we jump up to 3rd. We still have the worst running back room in the league. But I guess we're getting a little more value for the wide receivers. But let's go ahead and I'm going to try to get in another draft. Again, I really need to be practicing here, and I really need to figure out what the setup is going to be if we decide to pass on Bowers there at 6. So let's make this a double flex, full PPR redraft. Let's continue. Let me grab the link for y'all. Let me make sure I get in at 6. So I just sent the, ooh, I didn't mean to click on that. I just sent the link in the live chat if y'all wanted to get in this draft. Okay, and let's start this bad boy. Okay, I'm assuming that this is going to be a very similar to start where we go with Jefferson at pick 6. Looks like Jefferson's at 6 with the average expert ranks on the site. Now, Sal's rankings are not on the website, and the developer's website, rankings are not on the website, which they pick at picks 4 and 5, which is why I can't be certain that I get Justin Jefferson at 6. But I did watch Sal's most recent top 24 rankings video, and Sal did have all the running backs up there. I think he had Jamar Chase ranked at 3 or something. So, and actually the devs went ahead and signed up for a free trial or something from Sal, and they got his top 50 rankings, which I can just pull up what they have. So the expert average has Barkley as the best. I have Barkley as the best as well. So I'm going to take Saquon Barkley at 6, which is scary for different reasons of why Jefferson would be scary. Okay, let me pull over and see if I can find where they sent Sal's top 50. And let me see what they have. Okay, yeah. The devs did some digging. They found Sal's top 50. And with this, he has Chase at 1. Never mind. He has, I thought I saw in the video, though, that he didn't. Maybe I'm wrong. He has Gibbs ahead of Jefferson. So Sal has Jefferson at 6 as well. So if Sal has Jefferson at 6, it would just come down to the devs on if they decide to take Jefferson over Barkley or Gibbs, and if we get Barkley. Boob says, how does it feel to be dominated by Sam's Club, the fan in every draft challenge? Sam's been good. Can y'all let me know in the chat real quick? Everybody's spam the chat. Who are y'all rooting to win the Flock League this year? I'm sure that this is going to change as the year goes on, but initial reactions from the video. Who are y'all rooting for? Y'all rooting for the fan? Y'all rooting for a creator? Let me know. Domain says, Mason, what's the name of the Tex-Mex place? I'm going to grab lunch there. It is El Dorado Cafe. But if you want me to pick it up and bring it over to the Airbnb for you, I can do that. I'll probably head to the Airbnb in 2-ish hours. So it's kind of over by my house. It's further from the Airbnb. So I can pick it up for you, my guy. So this puts us in a very awkward spot. There are no wide receivers available to us here in the middle of the second round, which is honestly maybe why I prefer a Jefferson start. So we could go running back to back with Chase Brown here, or we could go with the elite tight end. And to be honest with you, if this was the Flock League, I'm going to have a hard time taking my second running back, Chase Brown, before Brock Bowers. So I'm going to take Bowers here. We'll see. We got Vinny rooting for the fan. Wesley the fan. Monk, me. Dylan, me and the FSC guys. We got Nick. Ooh, we got someone rooting for Nick out here. Nick's going to be the editor of the channel. We got the fan, Domainer, the fan, Badaki, the fan, Nathan. We got a Nathan fan. Ooh. The fan, me, Thomas. Ooh. Me, the fan, me, the fan. So it looks like a lot of people. Aleem says the FSC guys because they're Canadian. Out of the 12 people in the league, 4 of them are Canadian. There are only 6 Americans in the league. The fan, the editor, the FSC guys are all Canadian. The land guys are Australian. So the only Americans in the league are Sal, me, Avery, Nathan, Thomas, and the devs. But yeah, I'm interested to see like what the breakdown is during the season with the comment section, as obviously we all read the comments on that channel. And it looks like right now, a lot of people are on the fans bandwagon. That's what it's looking like. Okay. JSN goes 304. So honestly, good thing for us to have the elite quarterbacks off the board before we're on. And I have gotten some intel from, let me see if I can pull back up Sal's ranks. I'm going to take Tyreek Hill. If I have no wide receivers through the first 2 rounds, I'm taking a wide receiver in round 3. Let me see if I can get Sal's ranks back up and see where he has the elite quarterbacks. He has Josh Allen here at 26, and he has Lamar at 28. So it looks like the quarterbacks should be in play for Sal here at the 305. I know the FSC guys, the quarterbacks are in play for them at the 302, 303, which again, like, I know for a fact I will not want Bowers in round 2 if I could get Lamar or Allen in round 3. But if Lamar and Allen are going to be gone, then I think we can afford the elite onesie. Lady Ballin says, is there any way to reorganize a draft sheet by your picks instead of the power rankings? 100%. Just copy and paste the sheet you want to use into a different Google sheet. And then you have complete access to edit it however you want, to delete players as they go off the board, to highlight the entire thing, hit sort by, and then the column of my rankings. So yeah, if you want to change any of the draft sheets that we have posted, to sort them by the master ADP, to sort them by my rankings, the ADP that you're drafting on, just copy and paste it to a different Google sheet. Aleem says, what's your opinion on 3rd round reversal? I think it makes sense for Dynasty Superflex startup drafts. I think it would be idiotic to do in a regular redraft league. Brees Hall goes, so I'm going to take Xavier Worthy. There's a damn good shot I get Worthy in the middle of the 4th, as I know nobody else will take him before then, and I really like the dude. Trevion Henderson goes 409. So my strategy will be that if I don't take a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds, similar to Underdog, I have to play catch up. Because once the top 50 wide receivers are off the board, you're toast. It's over. Grant says, has Hampton been degraded recently? So I actually have Hampton ahead of Tyreek in my rankings. But again, the issue is we have no wide receivers in the first 2 rounds, which if you're playing in a single flex format, not a big deal. Honestly, just take Hampton or take the elite quarterback, take whatever you want. But in a 12-team full PPR where I know I'm not going to be able to get incredible wide receiver values in rounds 8, 9, 10 in our league, I kind of have no other option but to take a wide receiver there. Metcalf goes 503. Travis Hunter goes 504. There's a 0% chance I get Travis Hunter in the 5th. If I wanted Travis Hunter, I would have to take him in the 4th. The 2 FSE guys are going to take him at the 4-5 turn. If it's not Bush, it would be Danny. Danny, honestly, could be a wild card and take Travis Hunter at the beginning of the 3rd. You have no idea. So we're going to take DJ Moore. Again, we're playing catch up at wide receiver. Based off the expert average ranks on the site, there's a damn good shot that I walk away with DJ Moore in this draft, which I'd be completely fine with. Okay. Jonathan says you sound sick. I went over this early, but we had a long night last night. Not sick, but we went out to the mothership. Then afterwards went to a bar downtown. And I wasn't drinking, but I was dancing my little booty off, yelling over the music, singing. And this is the result. Okay. James Conner goes off for the 5'10". Caleb Johnson, 5'11". Okay. What happens? Ridley, 602. I am going to try to get the other guys to be drinking tonight. I will have a bartender at the draft. Not an official bartender, but we'll have people there. I'll maybe ask Desire Best, a member of this live stream. I know he's coming to the draft. Go, hey, you want to make drinks? You know how? U21? Hopefully. But let's see. DeAndre Swift off the board. So Burrow's the highest ranked in my rankings, but because we already took the elite onesie, I'm not going to take Burrow here. It's going to come down to Pollard or Chris Olave for us. Looking at the expert average ranks, Olave is the highest, and there's a chance we get Pollard on the way back around. So we will take Olave here in the middle of the 6th with the hope that we get Pollard on the way back. Musco says, I can't believe the fan picked the 9th spot. I want to make fun of the dude, but he's literally crushed us in everything that we've done this entire time. He's proven to just be a damn winner. So, and I've told the other creators this. I'm like, it's going to be hilarious when the fan is just clearly better at fantasy football than we are, and he just exposes all of us. Which, if the fan wins, he'll win a decent amount of money, and he'll get to be in the league again next year. So I'll be clowning on him in videos for sure, but I feel like I kind of can't start digging into him until we see him mess up something. Here, give me 1 second. Sorry, I had to help the lady with something. And now we're on the clock and we see that Sam Laporta is here. Does make me feel pretty bad about our decision to take Bowers in the 2nd, which seems like a common trend. We're going to take Quinshon Judkins here at the 706 for our 2nd running back. And if we are looking at the difference between Olave and Judy versus Pollard and Judkins, I think I would much prefer Pollard over Judkins, and Olave versus Judy are similar. So what I'm going to do in that instance is I'm going to probably just follow my rankings in the draft, and my rankings had Tony Pollard ahead of Chris Olave. So that was a mistake that we made. We tried to play the expert average ranks. We tried to guess what's going to happen in this draft. Clearly it didn't. So I think tonight we go Pollard, and then we hope that we get like Judy on the wraparound. Fantasyland says I'm not getting Bowers. I think there's a damn good, based off all the rankings on the site, it's a high probability that my start is either going to be my start. I don't want to guarantee it, but I would guess what I'm going to be starting is Jefferson and Bowers. I think Jefferson's the guy that makes it to me at 6. I think Bowers goes to the 207. And then we just kind of got to figure out how we are navigating through the middle rounds. Like, again, Bond, I agree with this. Like, say this example when we're on the clock here. It gets Bowers, and then at wide receiver, it's Ladd McConkey, JSN, T. against Tyreek. For me personally, I think Bowers outscores those wide receivers. So for me personally, I really want to be taking Bowers. It seems difficult to like your draft after you do it. We'll take Tracy here at the 807. If I do take Bowers, I'm having to play catch up on the skill positions. I know for a fact I'm not taking a quarterback anytime soon after. I know that I'm not taking another tight end really through the rest of the draft. Okay. Kyler goes 808s. So it seems like both drafts that we've done, and this is probably just a result of us getting the tight end in the second, we have gone late round QB. Which again, I get in this instance here. I need to be reminding myself, hey, you don't need to take Caleb in the 9th. Look at the teams behind you. There are 6 people drafting behind you, and 5 of them already have quarterbacks. The Henderson touchdown again. Let me pull this up. I don't have a single preseason game on right now. I'm really not even going to be able to get updates for today either. I'm going to have to play catch up on everything tomorrow. Let me see if I can find a video of this Henderson touchdown. It's probably going to take a couple minutes. Oh, no, it's already out on the Underdog Twitter. God dang, that's a nice Trevion Henderson touchdown. Honestly, Trevion may be in play for me in the 4th. Like if I start 3 wide receivers out the gate, if I go like Jefferson, AJ Brown, Tyreek, Trevion Henderson in the 4th over Worthy may be the play. Looking at my rankings, Kelsey's the highest, but we're not going to go Kelsey. We already have Bowers. So we'll take Michael Pittman Jr., kind of the last wide receiver in this tier. And Brian says, look like Adrian Peterson rushing through contact. Look a little smaller, but yeah, Trevion Henderson. Big Q says he's thinking he's taking Trevion over Connor now, which I don't follow you at all. I think Trevion you could look at in round 4. Is that the thing is like, it's not just, oh, he looks good in the preseason, so he's better at football than we thought he was. We already know Trevion Henderson's phenomenal at football. The question is, what kind of usage does he get early in the season in comparison to Ramondre? And if he just, every time he's on the field, is clearly the best player, you just kind of got to assume that they're not going to be stubborn and they're not just going to try to stick with Ramondre no matter what. Okay. So that team there at the 9-11, 10-02 decides to double tap the quarterback position with Purdy and Caleb, which I'm not going to fault them for at all. My highest ranked players here would be the quarterbacks and tight ends. I love the Loveland price. I love the Tucker Kraft price, but we box ourselves into a corner by taking Brock Bowers. So we're not going to be able to get the tight end here. Looking at the team quarterback situations on the way back, there's that team at 2 that could double tap the quarterback position. But honestly, we could go QB here in rounds 10 and 11. So I think we will take Justin Fields. I don't think Justin Fields is a good quarterback, but I do think that we should have a decent amount of rushing upside with him. Okay. Nick says teams are going to stack the box against the Patriots. I don't. You'd say, oh, teams are going to stack the box against the Eagles. Don't draft Saquon Barkley. Teams are going to stack the box against the Lions. Don't draft Jahmyr Gibbs. Teams are going to stack the box against the Ravens. Don't draft Bijan Robinson. So I'm not thinking like what worlds are we going like? Oh, teams are going to stack the box against the Patriots. Henderson's undraftable. I mean, the Patriots have a favorable schedule. Okay. Spears goes at the 11:02. So we can still take another quarterback here. And honestly, we may end up having to move Ramondre down a bit. If we expect that you do just have straight up Henderson taking over the job and Henderson winning from the jump. So I think a couple of these teams could take their second quarterbacks, like the team at 7, the team at 8, the team at 12. So I'm going to be okay grabbing our second quarterback here with Jared Goff. Very similar to when we took Caleb and Goff in the last draft. In this instance, we'd be playing the matchups and hoping that one of them emerges. So now we're done drafting quarterbacks and we are done drafting tight ends. So here at running back, we have Barkley, Judkins, Tyrone Tracy. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, Worthy, DJ Moore, Chris Olave, Michael Pittman Jr. We have the elite tight end with Bowers. And at quarterback, we have Fields and Goff. The mistake that we made in this draft was taking Olave in the 6th rather than taking Tony Pollard, which led to us taking Quinshon Judkins in the 7th instead of Jerry Jeudy. I personally would way rather prefer the combo of Tony Pollard and Jerry Jeudy rather than Chris Olave and Quinshon Judkins. And that's how I had it ranked as well. I try to get cute and go like, oh, I can get maybe this player on the way back around, blah, blah, blah. And I shouldn't do that. I should just listen to my rankings. I've done hundreds of these drafts. My rankings are kind of set the way that they are for a reason. So we'll run it. Domain says they're going to be at El Dorado at 12:55. I'll see you at El Dorado at 12:55. Hey, if anybody is here in Austin, Texas, you want to go to El Dorado at 12:55? We'll see you there. Joking, please don't pull up. However, if you do want to pull up, Sunday, August 17th, that's tomorrow, Austin, Texas, Revelry Kitchen and Bar. See all the details on the screen. Be happy to hang out with you. Okay. And then Avery, let me know what the weight situation's like, because there may be a wait. I don't know if you've called them. So Tillman goes off the board at the 12:04. Okay, so I'm going to hit y'all with a little bit of a spicy take that y'all aren't going to like. So John says Texas greater than California. I have lived in Texas 25 years of my life. I have spent like 4 months in California. I live in Texas right now. I went to the University of Texas. I was born in Texas, grew up in Texas, lived in Texas forever. But with that being said, anytime anybody goes out of their way to say this thing is better than this thing, unprompted, 99% of the time it's not. People going out of their way to say, hey, I know nobody was talking about this, but Texas is better than California, kind of sounds like an insecurity. Kind of sounds like, oh, you know what? Maybe it's not. It's like I went to the University of Texas. Objectively, you look at any objective measure, it's better than A&M. A lot of people that go to Texas A&M go, and I'm not trying to be rude, but go to Texas A&M because they can't get into the University of Texas. And what does everybody say at A&M? unprompted, they go, oh, the University of Texas sucks. We are way better. You know what happens at the University of Texas? Nobody and their mom would ever say anything about Texas A&M because they don't think about them, because if they wanted to go there, they could have. So, not saying California is better than Texas, but whenever I hear people going out there and just saying, unprompted, this thing's better than this thing, I'm Team Texas in this instance. Like, I'm trying to help us out. We kind of just sound insecure, and we kind of just sound jealous when we do that. So, not saying California is better than Texas. I'm just saying there's no reason to try to bring that up when kind of is not relevant. We're going to take Ray Davis. Again, I just want to be taking running backs in the final 3 rounds. That if their situation were to change early, then perfect. We could have a league winner. If their situation doesn't change, then we can easily cut them. Like Quentin Johnston, the big Q, perfect underdog pick in my opinion. Perfect best ball pick. But from a redraft perspective, you can always go to the waiver wire and find a wide receiver with that kind of production profile. Okay. Let's move this over. Jonathan says Miami over Austin. I'm not going to sit here and argue anything like that. My fact of the matter, what I have is people enjoy different things. I don't think anything's inherently better than the other thing. I don't think Texas is inherently better than California. I don't think California is inherently better than Texas. I don't think Miami's inherently better than Austin. I don't think Austin's inherently better than Miami. Probably some things are better. Some things are worse. It's up to you and your personal preference. What do you like? Some people would hate to live in a city. Some people would hate to live in a small town. Some people would hate this weather. Some people would hate this weather. Just your personal preference. The only thing that is the fact of the matter is American cheese is better than cheddar cheese on a cheeseburger. I'll tell you that much. The only fact in life that is inarguable is American cheese is the best cheese for a cheeseburger. Okay, Douglas goes to the 1401. Jonathan says, we have Latinas. Y'all got tortas. That's the thing. Some of my fellow Austinites may prefer tortas. I'm not going to be the guy talking down on a torta. More to love. So. Okay. Quentin Johnson goes to the 1403. Hunter Henry goes 1404. So at this point, we are sitting with Barkley, Judkins, Tracy, Nick Chubb, Ray Davis at running back. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, Worthy, DJ Moore, Olave, Michael Pittman Jr. Tight end, we have Bowers, and then quarterback, we have Fields and Goff. We'll take a look at in the last round. And I think that with this build, again, there was definitely a clear mistake we made, and that mistake was taking Olave in the 6th rather than Pollard, and how that led to us taking Judkins in the 7th rather than Judy. We need to swap that 2v2. Full transparency, here's what I'm going to be doing the rest of the draft. The rest of the day. I'm going to have to do like some miscellaneous work, but on my phone, this is what I'm going to be doing. And if y'all wanted to prep for your drafts, it's not a bad idea either. I'm going to be going into this little draft simulation on flockfantasy.com. It's completely free. I'm going to be setting this up. I'm going to be going into the 106 and practicing those 106 drafts. But here, yet again, we finished the 6th spot in the league analyzer. We have the best tight end room with Brock Bowers in this draft. We have the 4th best running back room, the 8th best wide receiver room. If we use my rankings instead of the expert average, I jump up to the 2nd team. And there with my rankings, it says we have the 8th best QB room, 4th best running back room, 8th best wide receiver room, and the best tight end room. So here's what I need from y'all. I need y'all to send up a prayer. Today's the most important day of the year for me, not even remotely close. If I draft a bad team, 2025 is going to suck. I'm going to be miserable all season. Y'all probably sense it in the live streams. The videos I make won't be good. The live streams, I'll probably be sad. I'm going to be miserable all football season if I draft a dead and dusted team. However, if we crush, if I have the best team in the league tonight, if we hit on a couple late round running back breakouts, this year could be the best year of my life. So it's a big night for me. Obviously, we're not going to be live streaming later tonight. We did it this morning. I will post a video tonight explaining our draft strategy. I'm not going to do so until we're in the draft. I made that video like 5 days ago, but I didn't want any of the other creators to see it. So I'll post that while we're in the draft. That way they're busy. They can't watch it. Y'all can. And I think that's all I got for y'all. Again, I really do appreciate you. I really hope I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night after the meetup. Really hope you can make it to the meetup. And is there anything else to say? No, we got football today. It's going to be a big one. And yeah, really hope I can see you at the meetup. If not, really hope I can see you at the live.